Controversy in sport is inevitable. Robot Combat is no exception. But if you were to ask the average fan what the most controversial machine in the history of the sport is, they'll probably either say Blendo or Helichopper. And if they say the latter, punch them in the face. But if they had any sense, they'd probably say that it's Tornado. Tornado was the product of a strategy that has existed since the beginning of the sport. Fast wedge, beat robot. But what Tornado had was an evolved form of the La Machine types that we had seen 5 years prior, and later incarnations of Tornado would take advantage of a plethora of interchangeable weaponry that changed it from a really good pushbot to one of the most dangerous machines in the world, on both sides of the continent. Starting life as said pushbot in the 4th series of Robot Wars, Andrew Marchant, David Gamble, and Brian Moss's bright red box on wheels would immediately make a name for itself, and did so in a heat where all the excitement and momentum was focused on the first cluster bot in the UK, Gemini. In a heat where both bots made light work of their opponents before meeting each other in the grand final, the latter also performing the first UTA of the series that wasn't from a bot named Chaos 2, Tornado made light work of Gemini, pinning one half into the arena wall, which gave them victory due to a rule stating that if half the cluster bot wasn't working, the whole bot would have been eliminated. A fantastic performance against another hype beast in Wheelie Big Cheese set up a second semi-final round against the reigning champions Chaos 2, which, according to George Francis himself, had to be redone twice. Its third rematch culminated in Chaos 2 performing its third UTA and ending an awesome debut campaign for Tornado, unequivocally earning the most promising newcomer award for that series. Robot Wars Extreme was where Tornado would cement itself as an actual threat, sporting a drum spinner that was placed with such subtlety that it transformed the robot into a top 2 robot in Robot Wars. Extreme was the Tornado series, as it would bag victories against the likes of Behemoth, Pussycat twice, Chaos 2 twice, only losing in a Mayhem Melee and the All-Stars final to Razor, and then to Razor again in the second World Championship. This would be the canon event for the career of Team Tornado, as it would culminate in no doubt the most controversial grand final in Series 6. After their Series 5 campaign was cut short by the greatest sporting feat Ireland has ever had since Italia 90, they came into Series 6 with a lot more knowledge and confidence, and a whole heap of interchangeable weaponry, beating the likes of Hypnodisc, Dominator 2 in an all-timer fight, and Firestorm 4 to make its way to the grand final. But who would they be meeting in said grand final? Oh, you know, the one robot that it couldn't defeat. But Tornado had a secret weapon up their sleeve. Scaffolding. A giant cage that was built with Razor specifically in mind. After probably the greatest final in the history of the show at that point, the fight ended in Tornado balancing above the pit, but not enough to be considered in there. They had done just about enough, and after a long judge's decision, Tornado were crowned UK Robot Wars champion for Series 6. Since then, scores of fans and former fans consider this moment a disgrace, unfairly and unfoundedly calling Team Tornado cheaters, to the point when whenever Robot Wars is discussed outside of its closely knit communities, Tornado's Series 6 final shenanigans are almost immediately mentioned, with people who haven't seen any episode of the show in 15 years telling people about how unlikable the team were, and how disgraceful the scaffolding was, to the point where even someone tries to say anything of the contrary, it gets drowned out immediately by mostly Razor fans, but occasionally just fans of the show, still upset that the more aesthetically pleasing robot didn't get a back-to-back title. A third place Series 7 campaign re-solidified the power and persistence of Tornado, only being defeated by Storm 2 in a boxing match. Get it? Tornado would also have a long life in the UK live scene, battling consistently until 2014 before having a long sabbatical, only to then return in 2022 for Robots Live in Stoke-on-Trent. Controversy and unfounded character assassinations aside, Tornado still lives as a reminder to most builders that a good drive and good ground game are essential for a successful machine, no matter how much experimentation and innovations the sport goes through. And Andrew Marchant is generally one of the nicest guys in the sport, bar none, and don't let anyone else tell you otherwise.